Lena believed that some people were born knowing how to belong, while others spent their lives learning how not to disappear. She was the second kind. On the morning she signed the agreement, the city looked colder than usual. Gray clouds pressed low against the buildings, and the glass walls of the office reflected a version of her she barely recognized, calm on the outside, trembling on the inside. Ethan waited patiently across the table. He didn't rush her. He didn't watch the pen in her hand. He simply waited, as if he understood that this moment carried more weight than words ever could. "This isn't a trap," he said quietly. "You can walk away." Lena smiled faintly. "I already tried walking away from everything else."
She signed.
The marriage was legal, quiet, almost unreal. No guests, no celebration, just signatures, a ring that felt too heavy for her finger, and a future that felt uncertain but safer than the past she was leaving behind. Ethan's house stood at the edge of the city, large, elegant, and silent. It wasn't cold, exactly. It just felt unused, like a place that had been waiting too long for life to return to it. "You'll be comfortable here," he said as they stepped inside. "And independent. Nothing changes unless you want it to." Lena nodded, unsure what she wanted anymore. Her room was simple and beautiful. Soft colors, clean lines, a window that looked out onto a garden she hadn't yet explored. She closed the door behind her and sat on the bed, hands folded in her lap. For the first time in years, no one was demanding anything from her, and that scared her more than debt ever had. The days settled into a routine. Ethan left early, returned late. They shared polite dinners when schedules aligned. Conversations were careful, respectful, distant. He never asked questions that felt invasive. She never volunteered more than she was ready to give. But the nights were different. Lena would wake suddenly, heart racing, with the strange certainty that she was not alone in the house's silence. Not threatened, never that, just aware. Once, she heard footsteps outside her door.
Slow.
Hesitant, then gone. Another night, she found a glass of water on her bedside table she was sure hadn't been there before. "Maybe I'm imagining things," she whispered to herself. But imagination didn't explain the calm that followed those nights. The way her breathing steadied, the way sleep came easier. One evening, she found Ethan in the kitchen, sleeves rolled up, struggling with a recipe. "I didn't know you cooked," she said. "I don't," he admitted. "But you skipped dinner." She laughed before she could stop herself. It surprised them both. From that night on, they shared more moments like that. Quiet laughter, unplanned conversations, long silences that didn't feel awkward. Still, he never crossed a boundary. When Lena finally gathered the courage to ask about the nights, they were sitting in the living room, rain tapping gently against the windows. "Do you walk around after midnight?" she asked. Ethan looked at her for a long moment, then nodded. "Sometimes." "Why?" He exhaled slowly. "Because night is honest. It doesn't pretend." She didn't fully understand, but she didn't push. Weeks passed. Lena began to explore the garden, the library, the parts of the house that felt less intimidating now. She found old photos tucked into drawers. Ethan as a boy, smiling beside parents who looked warm and alive. One night, she had a dream she couldn't remember, only the fear it left behind. She woke shaking, tears already falling. A knock came at her door. "Lena?" Ethan's voice was soft. "You cried out." She hesitated, then opened the door. He stood there, concern written openly on his face. No mask this time. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I don't know what came over me."
"You don't have to know," he said.
"You just don't have to be alone with it." They sat on the floor, backs against the bed, talking until the fear loosened its grip. She told him things she had never said out loud, about growing up too fast, about always feeling behind, about not knowing how relationships worked. "I'm innocent," she said quietly. "Not just in experience. In expectations. I don't know how to be what people want." Ethan turned toward her fully. "Lena," he said, "purity isn't ignorance. It's courage that hasn't been hardened yet." Her throat tightened. "I don't know how to love," she whispered. He didn't touch her. He didn't move closer. "Then don't rush it," he said. "Love isn't something you perform. It's something you grow into." From that night, something changed. He no longer hid his presence at night. She no longer pretended not to notice. Sometimes they talked in the hallway. Sometimes they simply shared the quiet, standing near the window, watching the city sleep. Lena realized that Ethan searched for her at night not because he owned her, but because the dark reminded him of what it felt like to lose people he loved. And somehow, she had become proof that not everything vanished. As the end of the contract approached, an unspoken tension filled the house. One evening, Lena found the divorce papers on the desk. Her chest ached. Ethan came home late that night and found her waiting. "You're free," he said softly before she could speak. "Everything is settled. You can start fresh." She stood, hands trembling. "I don't know how to leave," she said honestly, "but I know how it feels to stay." He looked at her then, not as an obligation, not as a responsibility, but as a woman he loved without ever meaning to. "This started as survival," she continued, "but it became choice." Silence stretched between them, fragile and powerful. "Lena," he said, "if you stay, it won't be because of a contract." She nodded. "I know." That night, when she whispered, "I don't know how to," he finally took her hand. "Then we'll learn," he said.
Together.
Slowly. No fear, no pressure, just two people choosing the same place in the dark. And for the first time in her life, Lena didn't feel behind. She felt exactly where she was meant to be,